What's up, guys? We're back with another one. More junk. Just kidding. This actually was a pretty nice bike. Doesn't look like it yet, but we're going to be changing that today. So I got this 07 Honda 400EX. Right now it runs, but when you start it up and hit the throttle, it just wants to die out. So probably going to be doing a carb clean, maybe a carb tuning, depending on what jets are in it. It's got a K&N intake and it's got a slip-on exhaust on it. So want to see what jets are in there, see if we can get it really, dialed in. The guy I got it from said that it was running really good until he ran out of gas, and then kind of started running goofy after that. So we're gonna check it out today. We're gonna get it all nice and cleaned up and just start breathing some life back into this machine. So let's get it. All right, so per the usual, want to give you guys a walk around on the machine. So you can tell it has potential. It's just been sitting for a while, probably outside under a tree or something, but it's got some really nice Fox shocks. Those are like over $1,000 for the front pair. So good stuff there. It's got some aftermarket. I think those are Alba. Oh no, Rock. They look just like the Alba Nerf bars. Otherwise, looks pretty much stock. It's got some aftermarket tires on it. It's got the FMF slip-on pipe. Sounds pretty good. I think it has a little bit of an oil leak. You can just kind of see, oil's been kind of leaking. So I don't know if that was like a valve cover. Looks like somebody at some point did a top end on it, but yeah, other than that, pretty good condition. It just really needs a hell of a detail. So I'm gonna fire it up and show you what it's doing. So fires up pretty easy, but then as soon as you go to give it gas, it's actually running better than it was before. But you can see it's like bogging when you give it full throttle, and it just shuts off. So definitely some carb issues there, nothing too crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a good detail real fast because I'd rather work on a clean bike than a dirty one. So let's do that. So this stuff I use, guys, some of y'all in the side-by-side forums might have heard of this stuff before, but it's called booty juice. So what it is it's a 2-gallon pump sprayer. I fill it up about halfway with water, and the rest I put Zepta greaser, Dawn dish soap, and a scoop of OxyClean. And this stuff is pretty dang strong, and it's not it's not going to hurt your plastics or anything like that. Doesn't mess up the color. You can put it on the whole bike and not have to worry about it, but you let it sit for about 5 minutes and then you can just pressure wash it off. It's really simple, works really well, especially on this dirt here. You can see already how brown the ground is getting just from the stuff running off. What I usually do is I'll let it sit for a few minutes and then I'll spray it with water just to kind of reactivate it, let it sit again, and then I just power wash it off. All right, guys, so I went ahead and wet it down. Let's go ahead and start power washing this grease and nastiness off. All right, guys, so we got half of the bike done. We do have some, scuffs and stuff here, but Mr. Clean Magic Eraser will take those off. So these plastics will be looking brand new, but you can see already just the difference in how clean this is. I haven't done the other side yet. I usually like to do half at a time just so I can really focus on getting the whole bike cleaned up. But you can see how bad the other side is. And the other side looked just like that a few seconds ago. The good thing about that stuff is that you don't have to scrub. So unless the mud is like really caked on there and you got like that Georgia clay that stains everything, if it's just regular dirt and grime, you literally just spray it on, let it sit for a few minutes, like I said, re-wet it with the pressure washer, let it sit for a few minutes, and then just pressure wash it off. and literally it makes a huge difference, and it's so easy not having to sit there and, you know, scrub with the scrub brush. So I'm gonna do the other side of the bike now, and then we can get to working on it. All right guys, so got the whole bike cleaned up, went ahead and used the magic eraser on the plastics, got all those scuffs and scratches off. Came out great, looking like brand new. So now I don't feel bad about actually working on this thing because it's going to be clean. I still have to pull the seat off because I know it's going to be dirty under there too. I want to make sure I'm giving myself a clean environment to work in, so I'm not getting myself dirty and dropping stuff into the motor or anything. So I'm going to pull the seat off, clean underneath, and then we'll start taking the carb out. Just doing a time lapse. No one though. Spin up. All right guys, so we got the carb kind of in the service position. We don't really have to take it all the way out. I don't think this is an OEM carb, but it's a pretty good aftermarket carb. It doesn't look too cheap or chintzy or anything. It's got the accelerator pump and all of that on it. It looks like it's in pretty good shape. So I'm gonna zip this float bowl off and see what the state of the inside of the carb looks like, see if we got a bunch of junk in there or not, and just see what jets we're working with. All right, so yeah, we got some nasty stuff down in there where the main jet goes. So yeah, pretty gross. So I'm gonna have to clean that out. It doesn't look too bad. I've definitely seen a lot worse than this, but there's definitely some nasty, looks like jelly almost down in there just from the ethanol. So we're gonna get that cleaned out. Let's pull these jets out of here. All right, so we got a 140 main. Now keep in mind, we do have a K&N air filter and we've got a slip-on exhaust. So I gotta look up and see what the stock jetting is, and we'll kind of go from there, see what we have to, if we gotta change anything. Let's see what size pilot we've got. So turn the fuel off, that would help. All right, and then we've got a 42 Pilot. So I'm gonna look up the stock jetting and see what the stock jetting is, and see if we have to go up or down, or if this is jetted correctly and the carb is just dirty. So I'm gonna look that up real fast and see what we got. All right guys, so after doing some research, it looks like the stock main jet on this bike is a 148. So right now, as you can see, we've got a 140 in there. So that's why it's bogging when you give it throttle. So he said it was running good before this, but I just can't see it running good when you're running a higher flow air filter and a higher flow exhaust from stock. So with 148 being the stock main, it's been running lean for a little bit now, which isn't good. So I'm probably going to bump the Pilot up to like a 152 or a 155 if I've got it. I think I'm going to go to a 155. I think that'll be perfect. The 42 Pilot is good because stock is a 38. So the 42 Pilot's a good bump. That's why it starts so quick like that, you know, without the choke or anything. It's just the mid-range to the top end. The mid-range to the top end that we're having a problem with. When you fully stab the throttle, it's just starving for fuel. So I'm going to put the 155 main gen in it and put it all back together and just see how it runs. I already cleaned the float bowl, got all that junk out of the bottom, so that should be good to go. I'm going to blow some air with my air chuck through the passages just to make sure that's all cleaned out, because there was some junk in there, and then we'll put it back together and see what happens. All right, guys, so I got the carb back together. The only main jet I had that was close to what I needed was a 158. Either way, I think it's going to get us right where we need to be. I really wanted a 155, but you know, I'd rather be a little bit richer, let the bike run cooler, have more fuel than less fuel. Just way safer, and for the longevity of the motor, it's going to be better. I almost forgot, I do want to pull this accelerator pump off and see what's under there, make sure the diaphragm is good in there, make sure there's no junk, because a lot of times if you stab the throttle and you get a bog, sometimes the accelerator pump could be bad or going bad or be clogged up. So what that does is when you stab the throttle, it sprays extra fuel through the carb into the cylinder head, so you don't, so you have enough fuel when you stab the throttle quickly. So if that's acting up, if there's a problem with that, it'll cause kind of a similar situation to what we're seeing now. So I'm going to zip these 3 screws off, just inspect the diaphragm, make sure everything there is good. If it is, we'll button it back up, put the car back on, put it back together, start it up, and see what happens. Well, I'm glad I pulled the accelerator pump cover, because, man, look at all the crap in there. Jeez. In the cover. Pretty bad. I'm going to carefully pull this diaphragm out. There's a spring that goes in between here and the diaphragm. I already pulled that out. Actually, it fell out. So, yeah, we're going to get some cleaner up in there, spray all that out, clean the diaphragm up, and put it all back together, and it'll be nice to have that nice and clean too. All right, guys, so I got everything tightened down. Clamp-wise, the airbox isn't like super bolted down or anything, but it's okay. Everything else is bolted up. I'm gonna fire it up and just kind of see how it runs. So choke is off, I think. Make sure. Nope, choke was on. Turn that off. All right, let's see how she runs. Quick ride and just see how it rides under a load. But yeah, when I give it gas, again, it's not dying like it was before, but it still kind of has that bog. So we'll take it for a ride and see how it rides under an actual load. All right, so I just took it on a test ride, and honestly, anything past like half throttle, it just wants to bog out. So I need to see if this gas is good, give it a smell, see what it smells like. Yeah, I mean, it smells fine. Let's check the spark plug, see what that looks like. We could have a fouled plug causing some problems. So let's pull that spark plug out And where's the damn spark plug on this? Oh, of course it's underneath all the freaking plastics. Maybe I can get to it without pulling the gas tank. Okay, so it's been a few days. I haven't had the chance to work on the bike in a little bit. I went on vacation this weekend, so we're back again today. What I did do was I replaced the spark plug. The spark plug that I pulled out was black, so completely fouled. I thought that might be part of the issue. Replaced the spark plug, and it still runs the exact same. It still has that bog and hesitation and miss up top. So, you know, the guy I got this from said that it ran perfect until he ran it low on gas. You know, we cleaned the carb like you guys saw. I put fresh gas in it, cleared out all the passageways, you know, made sure all the jets were clear. I did jet the main jet up a little bit, so, and it still runs the same. So I'm kind of finding it hard to believe that he's saying it ran perfect, because up to this point we've done everything that it should be running great, and it's not. So this is the problem with these Chinese carbs. You know, even though like the stock main jet that's supposed to be in this is a 148, somebody's already been in this carb and was having issues with it, obviously, because there was a 140 in it. So it's been running rich for some time. What I'm going to try to do now is I'm going to try to adjust the needle inside the carb, and I'm hoping that it's adjustable to where I can take the clip and move the clip up higher on the needle, which will lean the entire mixture out. I'm going to see if that makes it better. If not, I'm going to start dropping down the main jet. So we'll go from like the 140, we're going to drop it down to like a 130. The reason for that is that even though it seems like it's going to be super lean, because this is a Chinese carb, the passages where the main jet goes could be larger than stock. So even though we have a smaller jet in there, once it gets past that jet, that opening where the needle sits could be larger. So that could be the reason why we're running very rich. Again, don't recommend these Chinese carbs, guys, especially on these bigger bikes, the 300s, the 400s, the 450s. Don't do it. Just clean the OEM carb. The kids bikes, the little kids bikes, the 90s, the 50s, those Chinese carbs, the good quality Chinese carbs, you can usually get away with, and the bike will run pretty damn good with some fine tuning sometimes. But with these bigger bikes, I would stay away from the Chinese carbs. Just go with the OEM. So let's start taking this thing back apart. I'm hoping I can get to the needle without pulling everything back out again. I don't have everything like super bolted down, but I'm hoping that I don't have to pull the carb all the way back off. Hoping I can just pull the seat, pull the air box, and get to the needle. So let's do it. All right, so I did have to pull the carb apart. I pulled the float bowl also just to check the float bowl level. And on this bike, it's not adjustable, so there's no way to adjust the float. So that is not the problem. Again, this is not a fuel delivery issue. This is too much fuel, so I'm gonna pull this cap off. Oh boy, of course you're right in the way. All right, so we gotta pull this out. Screws gotta come out. Come on, man. All right, guys, so we got the needle out, and it looks like it's on the middle clip here. See that? So it's on the middle clip. So I think I'm just gonna jump it up to the top clip position here, and that will lean it way out. And we'll see if that helps. Let me see if this is like a aftermarket needle. It's got some numbers on it, but I don't know if it's aftermarket or not. 158-38. That's what it says. Yeah, I'm gonna take this clip off. I'm gonna move it up to the top position, put the carb back on, fire it up, and see if that makes any difference at all. All right, guys, so we got it back together. Fuel's on, everything's bolted back up. So let's fire it up and see how she runs. Let's hope for the best. All right, guys, so unfortunately I'm an idiot, and when I changed the the needle position, the clip, I had the choke on. So what I did was I put the needle at the second clip. It was on the third. So I leaned it out just a little bit. So let's see how it runs now. Alright guys, so since messing with the needle wasn't really doing a whole lot, I went ahead and swapped in a 120 main jet. It's a lot smaller, obviously, than the 158 that's in it right now, or 155 rather, but it's the only size I had. I really wanted to go down to like a 130, but yeah, let's fire it up and see if that helps. Alright guys, just going to wrap this one up. So obviously we got the bike running good now. Moral of the story is, don't put Chinese carbs on bikes. Four-wheelers, dirt bikes, just stick with the OEM. Makes it very difficult to tune into jet, and you can run into problems. You could actually hurt the motor if it's too lean. You know, it'll smoke and run like crap and foul plugs all the time if it's too rich. So yeah, just stick with the OEM carb, clean the OEM carbs, and you know, hopefully you won't have this issue. But as always guys, thanks for watching. Really trying to get 2,000 subs, so if you guys can make sure you subscribe, throw some likes, some comments. Want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you want to see next. See you guys on the next one.